Hey everyone, we're back with another one of these EU recaps, and this time we'll be going over trends, maybe a game or two for week 2 of SCL UU coverage, and then we'll get into predictions as well. And I have the usual boys with me. I have Adam, IP, LNumbers, and TSR. And
What's up?
yeah, we could just get into trends. So I know all of us, or most of us, have this usage statistics page open. What do you guys? What stands out to you guys?
Komodo is broken.
Spikes are broken.
Spikes are
Rose the
broken.
rate is the new meta game.
It's such a disgusting meta. Like I know, like, okay, when I was building my team, I had like a whole spike stack vibe, right? And I was talking to my manager about it, and he's like, "Wait, you don't have removal? Like that's so terrible." And I straight up told him, I was like, "Dude, I started playing Black White UU. I'm used to this shit." And when I went into the game versus Adam, it played out exactly like that. But at the same time, I really don't like it for some reason. It it just feels like everything's rehashed, and I don't know. It's reminding me of Mew, the Mew meta all over again.
Dude, that's literally what it was.
Yeah.
That stupid.
Okay, yeah, it's not as good as Mew, obviously.
It is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in theory, the coverage it has its ass. It should
Yeah.
not be getting this much usage, but it's just because our removal is ass and spikes are broken. So
Yep.
Hey, it's got Shadow Ball.
Like perfect.
Don't you
quadrant
learn?
where Spike's at.
yeah, except that doesn't even matter anymore because Celesteela has just taken over as
It's
the
the
best.
most
Yeah,
popular still.
Celesteela
Yeah.
is like the only problem. But hey, Celesteela means free spikes.
Wait,
Wait, what?
I don't know about that, dude.
I don't know
Someone's
about
gonna
that,
send
but-
you
Like
the
not,
show.
not in the 1v1, but like if Celesteela switches in on you, you can just spike on that turn and then go out.
Yeah,
Well,
true. It's not
yeah,
even
that's
that hard
true.
to take advantage of
but-
either.
Yeah, it is
You
very
got
passive.
Bundy and
Yeah,
shit, so.
like you got switch-ins.
Hold on, pause. Dundee, we've seen Dundee get its ass eaten alive by Celesteela. This non is unkillable, and nothing but like Ray and Nicholas and Tentacle on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty limited, honestly.
I don't
On
think
that
it's that
Dundee
bad.
note, I think that we've seen a lot of the pivot set and but I think Nasty Plot is actually pretty good too. Like I think the things
it
that
is.
switch into that are just like there's like 2 Pokemon in our tier, besides the Scarfers revenging it, of course. But like Volt switching against Celesteela for 55 or whatever against Nasty Plotting and then having to play perfectly around that is like I'm surprised we haven't seen more Nasty Plot on that mon.
It's a guessing game, dude. You have to
it's
guess his
crazy.
coverage, like down to the wire. And if you guess improperly, then you're likely losing him on. It's insane. We definitely should be
But,
seeing
like,
more of it.
even-
But yo, speaking of mons we haven't seen, what about Keldeo? Isn't this mon ranked like
Keldeo-
S or something?
I think it's 0 usage overall so far.
That is depressing. It is a
I
good
think
mon.
Keldeo is ranked so high just because of how necessary it is to take care of it in your building. But then like it's also so easy to do that because all of the mons that check it are like A+ mons.
They
that
are
you just
common.
slap
Yeah,
on
but
your
the thing is,
Right.
like, we haven't seen Primarina a lot because Roserate's
Yeah.
been there, so...
Yeah.
And Roserate is not the perfect Keldeo switch in either, so...
Yeah, it's
You
not
know?
a
This is
straight
true.
sword switching, but
Yeah,
the
like,
Spadaf
we-
ones are good at soaking up hydro pumps.
That's also
We-
why Barraskewda worked so well.
We
Yeah.
say that like all these top mons naturally check it, but then you look at the teams that have been brought and the secret sword resist are just like nothing is switching in. Like Thundy's not switching in, Roserade isn't switching in, and then like all these mons can only switch in once, and then of course the infamous Umbry water resist Buzzwole.
Oh man, we'll get to that. We'll get to that phenomenon in a second. What a team! I'm sure it's been shit on enough times by now, but
Oh, for sure. But,
man,
you
it
know, I
wouldn't
just
hurt
had
to
to
shit on it
mention
some
like
more. Yeah.
not only her team. I was just saying like in general, you look at all these teams and like the Secret Sword is kind of just hard to pivot
Very
into. I
spammable.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
fighting mods
yeah.
in general or just fighting
I
moves
think-
are very good because of like Amungus's usage dipping down, which is in
Yeah, I
part
think-
to Roserade's uptick in
Yeah.
usage.
I think Amoonguss going down makes Keldeo more of a threat.
Definitely.
Same with Primarina.
Same with AV Tangrove, to be honest.
Well, same with what I wanted to say, and I was gonna wait until we got to your guys' game was Azumarill. Like I was talking to Pac actually, I think a couple weeks ago. when Rose was just taking off, and we were saying that just no Amoongus means that Azu just can click much better. I mean, the
Mhm.
speed sucks, but that's like a huge
Lot of
boon for
Aqua
it
Jet.
too.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
a great breaker.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And one that we
and it
haven't
has
seen
the
too much
bulk
either.
to-
Yeah.
has the bulk to trade with stuff, even if it doesn't have the best matchup, which I think is a really good trait for Pokemon to have
Mhm.
in this.
Yeah,
meta.
but it's definitely a scary mod.
I think the Prio is really valuable too, especially after losing Scizor. Like we've seen stuff pop off just because of the lack of omnipresent Prio, I guess you could say, because Scissor Bullet Punch was everywhere before and it kept a lot in check. So it's always good to have like that strong priority in the back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as far as big
I mean,
mons, I think. Oh yeah, what's up?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like as far as big mons, like we saw Como, Thunderous, Roserade, like those three in particular had like a 60% win rate across 5 games, which is like pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
like you said, with the Celesteela point earlier, like it's definitely been the most popular steal. Jirachi's been competing with it a bit, but I feel like I just see those two, like not so much Aegislash anymore, which happens to have a 0% win rate alongside Crocodile. I found that very interesting as well because I think both mons are really good. It's just over 2 weeks, like the 0% win rate is shocking to say the least.
I don't know how
yeah.
you guys feel, but whenever I use Jirachi or Aegislash, I just feel like I'm so weak to DD Ments.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
that too.
I
And,
mean, I
like,
think you have to
Momo
stick a
too.
fairy alongside it if you don't want to be weak to men's or some type of priority, but
For sure.
I don't think that we'll go the whole tournament without seeing stuff or like those two specifically pick back up because with people like slapping a bunch of Como on their teams, I mean it's not really the best Aegis/slash counter either, right? And the ghost resists have just been kind of dire because less monkey too.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
like
Yeah.
I think it'll pick back up
But,
slowly.
but I mean, just look at our ghost resist in general. So rude, Crocodile, like Aegislash gets CC, Chandler gets Specs Flamethrower or Overheat. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not as simple in practice, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not that simple.
As far as like teams that people brought this week, like I'm cycling through it on the stream right now, but like what do you guys think of those? Like we saw like a few, like we saw Azelf again from Luthier, which I think is obviously very good. Any fast
Yeah.
pivot mon with like knock and U-turn is bound to be successful.
I get the feeling that like back when Thundy left, people have been doing the same thing with like different mons, Thundy T, Tornadus, Azolf, because knock U-turn just like two good coverage moves and you're a great pivot.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys want to start getting into like covering some or like kind of overviewing the 4 replays that we're not going to cover and then the one that we will at the end? Because we can touch
Yeah.
on the teams right now.
For sure.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, we can segue right into that. I think the first game that happened was Bush versus Luthier, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
we can go over that
that's
one
true.
first. And yeah, Luthier had that Azelf that I was talking about. That Roserade Buzzwole combo has been very popular. I think it was used at least 3 times. I think it was Luthier. I know Adam and myself both used it.
Yeah,
I know people did in last week's showings.
yeah, I did.
I'm pretty sure
Very common card.
every Roserade either paired with Como or Buzzwole since it's when it was used this entire tournament.
Yeah.
It's really easy to
Sure.
like just mash attacks with Buzzle or Komodo, and then anytime that they're kind of stopped from doing that with only a very certain subset of Pokemon because they're very dominant, then
Mhm.
Roserade can come in and just spike on like Amoonguss, Primarina. All that
Yeah, it's
stuff.
really only like the fairies or like those defensive poisons that are switching into both of those mons, and that's why having Roserade alongside that because it switches into those. And they also both appreciate spikes, obviously. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, great combo
Yeah.
for
One
sure.
cool tech that I've seen a lot is dual wing bead on Buzzwole for opposing Buzzwole. That's been pretty cool.
It also does
Yeah.
slightly more to Amoonguss, which isn't
Yeah.
used, but
Well, once you
Just
knock
in
off
case.
helmet, yeah. Maybe you got to make sure you knock off the helmet first. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Or just get hazards down, which Rose Raid.
Yeah,
Because
it's just as
Buzzwole
simple.
can roost off that. Buzzwole can get that damage off of it.
That is true. Yeah, I think everybody's been running some variation of the roost set for the most part, even on choice bend, because it's bound to get knocked off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I
but
mean, looking at both of the teams that we have here, I liked both teams. On preview, I probably would have thought that Luthier was a bit better off, just because uh, well, I pronounce it as Elf, so whatever, that's how I'm gonna say it. But there's nothing that's really gonna stop that from knocking off the entire team, right? Like
Definitely.
Yeah.
Celesteela doesn't want to get knocked off, or Uniclus can't really come in because then it's just gonna get you turned on.
Mhm.
Aegis Slash can't even King Shield and stuff like that.
I mean,
So I don't think Bush played a bad game. I just think with Azelf or whatever, and then on top of like Wash Tom trying to be the pivot and the uh positioner, I guess, but having a Toad there to block all of that, it was just
Toad
kind of
and a Thundy.
hard.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
just book it.
I mean, I guess it
Luthier's
was probably.
Celesteela was also way more dangerous to Bush than Bush's was to him.
No leech deterrent. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
I
funny
also
though to me
think-
though is that the preview could have gone way the other way as if that Ray Nicholas was Calm Mind, because you lead Ray Nicholas, you put
Oh,
Calm
definitely,
Mind
definitely.
at the game end. There's no way you can break a +1 Ray Nicholas.
That is a great point, actually.
Yeah.
Because people
But I don't-
forego like
Or
bug stab on Buzzwole as well.
Jasmine the Dork, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think that, and I don't know what Luthier thought. I just, looking at Bush's team, I didn't think it would be Calm Mind, just because, you know, Keld has seen zero usage, but there's no way that you can put up Wash Time Resist Specs Hydro or whatever. So,
You say that, but someone loaded up water resist Buzzwole, so you can never
Oh
tell
my
for sure.
god.
oh, that's true.
That's
That's true.
true. We'll get to that. Just patience,
Yeah.
brothers. Come on,
Yeah.
we're almost there.
Like,
Yeah, it
I
was
don't
the
know.
Salt Vest indeed.
I also think that this washing was probably defog due to spikes being a thing, and you know when you use an AV or Uniclus, you better want the great
Yeah,
hazard control
Mhm.
because it's bound to get chipped by stuff like spikes, rocks. I mean, toxic would have helped versus Ice Me Toad. I feel like, but like he couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I think Bush's team was fine, honestly, but probably not the best team to bring in this current meta because of what Rose does to it, and
Yeah.
by association, whatever Rose is usually paired with. You know, we've seen that Azelf Buzzwole combination before. But I think Luth definitely had matchup, and he ended up playing very well, to cap that off. And I don't think Bush had a chance.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
I
much
think-
as he tried. Did their thing.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it was. But yeah, I mean, I didn't hate Bush's team. I actually kind of liked it. I think he just ran into the unfortunate thing of having Future Sight be blocked by Celesteela and having Wash Tom to make progress into his breakers being blocked by 2 Mons. So
Mm-hmm.
happens.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good summary of that game, though. We can move on to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then next, I think we had Mincemeat versus Umbry, and
Yeah.
Oh, the fabled team, though.
the Fable team. I really like the Barraskewda pick because, as we talked about before, Rose Raid being the most common grass at the moment opens up offensive
Yeah.
waters a lot. Like we covered Azu on another team, and Barraskewda basically does the same thing except it's faster and it's a pivot, which is obviously a lot. It holds a lot of value in a meta like this, where everything's fast paced.
I kind of think that like I don't know. I feel like it's lacking like just a tiny little bit of power, and it ends up coming up short. But having that kind of speed on your team without it being a locked into choice scarf or anything like that, and also having flip turn is great for it.
Yeah, but then again, do you really need the power with spikes up? Considering
that's
a
what
lot
I
of
was
his
gonna
checks
say.
are grounded. Yeah, it kind of covers that for you.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, you don't really want it to break. You're just gonna use spikes and flip turn to just chip everything into range. I mean, you got Thundy to break shit, and I'm pretty sure this is a CM Necro, which I thought of using too.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good pick.
And that's
Yeah,
gonna be
CM
really
Necro.
annoying too,
Mm-hmm.
I've
especially
also
with
seen Necro.
Go ahead, Clark.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I actually seen Necro pick up a bit of usage this week. I think, well, it hasn't been revealed, but Gondra might have used it as well.
He did. I did see Indigo on his team.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
It
Askov
didn't
had one
show.
as
It
well.
didn't show, but
Yeah.
I figured it was.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing that Askov and Mensmeet actually use the same team. That's interesting.
Yeah, our prep was kind of all
Oh.
over the place, so then we ended up just taking that team.
And it's
a
a good
nice
team.
team.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
the way it looks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Has like dominant mons, like like that Rose Raid fighter combo in Como has Thundi, which is really good. Barraskewda's good. Necro's under the radar. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I want
Yeah, I
the
think-
world to know that I wanted to bring Scarf Reggie Drago with 3 dragon attacks in PvP,
God.
and he brought 3 dragons that weren't Scarf.
Yo, I
and
would
we
have
won.
destroyed him. Oh my god.
Yo, GG, GG.
Oh my
Good game, good game. TSR won.
How do we not predict that the Dragon Tamer bringing triple dragon? It was
Right.
foreshadowed in his damn name.
Should have seemed intuitive, right? That's what you think.
Yo,
We'll see if
TSR
anybody
you
picks
all
up on it
along.
in a future week.
Anyways,
Well, IP, do you want to? I mean, this game was pretty like honestly, it was just no water is just getting bullied by Scuda. Necrozma just
Yeah.
short. Like,
Yeah,
there wasn't much to
straightforward.
say.
Same
Not
thing as
I think
much
it was
Bushtush
just
Green.
lots
There
of
was no,
there.
there was no like
Yeah.
reach deterrent either. So Steela just had its
Yeah.
way, like you said, Barraskewda as well with spikes. Yeah, pretty
Hey,
self-explanatory. Though on
I'd
the
like
other
to-
side, I did like the fighting spam because Buzzwole can really break a lot on its way out of a game, and like I'm assuming it was Scarf Shell, but Scarf Shell is a deceptively good cleaner in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I definitely
we're
agree.
actually thinking of doing something similar with Buzzwole plus Keldeo.
Oh, that sounds neat because they both target different things, despite being fighters. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, you kind of got to be aggressive with them because they're like safest switch-ins. They're both kind of similar,
Yeah, like
but then
think of Mungus or
is
something else.
probably more. So
I think we
Exactly.
can move on.
overwhelm Rose Raid
to-
together.
Yeah,
Oh, the fabled Draco.
I saw that too. Yeah.
What's
Nah,
funny,
the
though,
IP
every
tech.
time it's been used, every time it's been used, it's been inferior to Toxic, except when I faced it. I'm so mad.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm a trendsetter. People, I'm just too stylish. People see it and they're like, "Oh, gotta slap it, gotta be like IP." But no, yeah, I think if your team isn't weak to Como
Whoa.
or Men's, I like, you should just use Toxic. I just used it on mine because I saw like Sword Stance Como or just like a DD Men's with Steela being like my switch into basically everything on my offense was like I needed that deterrent, but
Yeah.
Someone leaked.
Those slot picks.
Right now.
Someone leaked. Oh no.
And I just said that someone just left after he said, "Oh, I'm too stylish. I'm too good." Can't blame them. Can't blame them.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, we can move on. Pretty straightforward.
It's
Yeah.
silver.
We got to get past IP and not let him grow his ego. Let's do the same stuff. All right.
Do we
Next
want to do
one.
this game last? Since we're gonna go in depth in this one.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I mean, I don't care. It's up to you guys. But since we're gonna
Yeah,
talk about this
I
one,
don't
I
wanna
don't
go
mind
in depth
about
with
like
that.
anything either.
All right then.
but
Yeah, I guess we can move on to Clark versus Gondra then. We haven't seen Clark's team in quite some time.
Look at cheese, everybody! Look what he brought. He brought screens and no light clay meta.
Yeah, exactly.
it's still kind of it
You-
still
you-
works though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, like,
it does. It does.
Deck button smart gets you. It still gets you some turns behind screens.
Yeah, I
Hey,
guess.
Clark, you want
yeah.
to explain this turn one though? The trick into Shadow Ball.
I so regret that turn. I did not see fucking timid specs Aegislash coming. Okay. Fucking timid specs Aegislash. What the fuck?
This
I mean, it's
is-
Like, the more I
It is-
think about it, the better it was. Honestly,
Yeah.
I honestly I
pick,
feel like
yeah.
here I predicted a switch out. I should have just tricked and then rogged. That would have been a better sequence.
Hmm. Although it's easier to point out in hindsight, because I feel like when you're using an
Yeah.
offense like screens, like every turn just has some immense weight behind
Yeah,
it
it has
to
like
get
yeah,
every turn right.
definitely.
So there's a lot of pressure in that regard.
Yeah.
But
Um,
IP, you mentioned Nasty Plot Thunderous earlier, and here we see the
Yeah.
first actual usage
Here we
of
go.
it.
Yeah.
And now we
it
see the
didn't
first.
do much
Missed
because of
Smoke
Now we're
Frost.
about to see the first move missing.
Yeah.
That's the only
It is
bad
huge.
thing about this Pokemon. It's just it has to hit Focus Blast.
Yeah, it has to
Yeah.
focus blast. That's the thing.
You know,
You can also
actually,
just run Grass Knot, but Yeah,
I played
no.
a guy that was running Nasty Plot Life Orb Thunderous, and I thought my Tangrowth was safe because it was
Oh,
8
jeez.
but I died to Sludge Wave.
You got
Yeah.
sick
Oh
of it
Oh
for
my
sure.
god,
It's
yeah.
All
He
the
will
latter
not
ones
be
around that.
walled by
It's,
Hulu.
Pick your poison, quite literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think there's like too much to go over this game. I mean, I think Gondra actually played it well. I mean, this Focus Blast miss was really bad for Clark too,
Yeah,
because
for
then
sure.
if he had hit that, then he would have been probably able to just T-bolt.
Mhm.
Now here
But
it revealed
Yeah.
the timid.
Yeah, but look at that. That's sick. That is sick because Modest is outsped by Thundy and then gets wrecked by Timid. The first Timid Aegislash in 2021.
yeah, which is honestly like I'm glad that they brought it because there's so many mons that, and I know I'm guilty of this too, that I just creep like a modest Aegislash, and then like seeing Timid is just so tough.
It's a good adaptation for sure. I like that a lot on their side.
That you just creep Modest
Mhm.
Primarina, and then they kind of started running Timid, but then it was kind of bad because
And
of
we
that.
also appreciate Clanger Como for a second. People are sleeping on that mon.
They
Yeah, I don't know
They
how much
are.
bulk they had, but I didn't think this would die when I was watching this live.
the Necro
just
Array.
Yeah,
point out-
Yeah.
that thing is crazy.
Can we just point out that the only time Komodo lost is when it faced another Komodo?
Yo,
It's
So
so good.
broken.
let's all use it next week. How about that?
Yeah, Clanger Soulblaze has been falling out because of the screen ban and the health sacrifice it does, but the bulk gain it gets is incredibly annoying to make it revenge killable. Like that Crocodile required 2 sacks before it could EQ it to death.
Mm-hmm. And even when you take it out, you're just opening yourself up. It's like a very linear path that it forces, which is
I still think you
in
can
favor of
use
a Como player, in my opinion.
You don't necessarily have to use Throat Spray with it and be mono special.
Yeah, there's potential for mixed as well. That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
this game got unfortunate a bit towards the end when I think
this
Gondra got a full
para
para
Yeah,
on the
that
as soon
one
as the
reflect.
para
reflect
turn.
came off.
I don't think it was completely one for Gondra either though, because after that, I mean, I'm guessing this Aegislash was probably Steel Beam, considering we didn't see it Shadow
I
Sneak
asked
later in the
Gondra.
game.
I asked Gondra, it was Steel Beam.
It was okay.
It was.
Okay.
Like, it was Steel Beam last.
Because I
But
mean, if
what's
he
the
kills,
fourth move?
Like,
probably close combat.
Close combat, probably. To Chansey.
And I mean, I would guess that after he kills this, then I mean, I don't know, you go into like
And
Como or something.
yeah, it wouldn't have like. I would have taken 11% more from EQ if we played it like the same way. But then like there were like these crook 50s perhaps because without reflect that thing you killed. But then it's like also just the same Gyarados versus Como. Which move are you gonna click?
I think though, with
Or are
them
you even gonna
having
go out?
the ability to click Steel Beam maybe, and then have that extra like down, that might have changed something, but I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get too in depth into it, but I think Gondra would have been in a better position without the para, but it's not. I don't think he was completely won either.
Yeah, that's a good way to
But
put it.
like,
I'd agree.
yeah.
Como is
Maybe-
flames for free either way. Yeah, it's no good pivot. He
Mhm,
really needs to take to the end game. He really did.
for sure.
Yeah, so
I
if you're
think-
watching this video, run Shadow Sneak on your choice Aegislash. You're never gonna close combat anything, I promise.
Yeah, you kind of
mean,
just
I
flash
never
all those
clicked
I
moves,
can
don't
see
you?
it.
Except for Chansey. There you
Adam's
go.
gonna use Chansey next week. I'll tell you. He
We'll
just
see
said
about
that.
that.
Now he's gonna use Chansey.
I'm stalling you, Bushtush. I'm coming for you with my fancy Salamix backside.
Oh no.
All right, next one.
Next, I guess it was the last game of the week, but Askov versus PDT. We saw triple dragons from the Dragon Tamer himself, as Adam so eloquently put it previously.
and
Cool
then
team.
we just stole another team because we couldn't really get anything together.
Which
I
it's
actually also
respectable.
want
It's a good build.
Yeah.
Apart from it
I
not
asked
having.
Zelf to bring
Yeah.
double psychics with Necrozma and a Zelf.
Oh well.
I gotta say though, this was kind of when I helped IP. I helped with I tested with IP when he showed me this team that he made, and the Zydog pick. I was curious since the whole idea is Roserade grass type. It sucks ass versus ground type moves. Use it, but Buzzwole's there to just gobble them up like turkeys. And I was
Yeah.
skeptical of it. And he happened to draw the one Roserade team without a Buzzwole, so I thought I had fantastic matchup for the game.
Huh. Yeah, I
That's
think
just been
PDT
the
could have
story for
like
you, man. Oh man.
slightly played this better too. I mean, yeah, I know I talked to you and Accel at the beginning of the week saying drag spam's kind of cool because we haven't seen a lot of fairies and
Yeah.
all these like rose raid stuff picking up, or builds picking up, like they actually have a lot of potential. I think the one turn that PDT like really misplayed a lot was in the beginning when he U-turned for no reason on the Como, where he could have just like healing wished and then either kept this or done something later on. But
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know. I think drag spam is still cool. I mean, we've seen one prim maybe, not a lot of fairies. So
And it's not like you weren't completely like uncovered versus Primarina either. Like you had the offensive pressure of 3 dragons and an Amogus in the back, a Rotom Watch as
yeah,
well. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not like a fairy would have stood in your way per se.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
healing
so
wish you mentioned earlier, it definitely would have gone a long way because I think it still would have been in the air right now, right? The lingering wish.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah. I mean,
not exactly Karachi, but like you could have gone like Salamence there, taken some damage, and switch it out after you're forced out. Bring it back in later, and you're back to full.
Right. Once the steel is low or something.
Yeah.
yeah, and we also could have like kept the Como potentially too before and used that later on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we don't have to go into this game that much. It just
Yeah.
comes down to that last turn crit anyway. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think both played a good enough game. Just gonna skip forward a bit here, but yeah, this unfortunate sequence came up where Celesteela was thought to have the win in the bag, but yeah.
this is why I use mixed Stila people.
And you know the interesting thing, I calced it. Yeah, Mixtila might have saved actually, but if it was 0 defense Celesteela, I calced it. It was like a 37% chance to Oko, even with a crit,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
baffling. But
The
that's
breakers,
Pokemon.
dog.
That lost us the
The
lead.
math breakers, I dog. Yep. Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. Not much you could do about mons in games like those, but yeah,
I did think that the triple dragon was pretty cool, but because typically that they all have like very different checks that all don't fit on the same team.
that's right.
So
Yeah, that was the whole idea of it. Just use a solid backbone like Wash Tom and Amoongus for
Mhm.
it. So
Bunch of clue mons, yeah.
yeah,
and then stuff to fall back on.
Yep.
And we also appreciate Askov for just being wholesome.
Yeah,
He's
I appreciate
been
that.
really cool.
Yeah,
okay.
what's
Time for last game.
the last game, and then we can get into predictions and cap it off.
Last game, aka SSUU moment, the new modern day Among Us mirrors.
More like black white, dude.
Yeah, pain.
What
Yeah,
a game.
I don't know. I like this game. I like both of your guys' teams, and I think I mean, I didn't help either of you guys really this week, but from what you showed me in the beginning, you both brought different teams than I thought you were gonna bring. But I think the interesting thing is you were both settled on spikes, both of you.
For sure.
Can't blame you, but
It's
I
the
fucking
think
pain
broken.
of having to play Adam, dude. Like I just start overthinking everything because he is the best EU player, and
yeah.
that's enough to just make you overthink everything.
This is though the part where I realized that I was on the back foot because his rows beat my rows. Therefore, I was switching out. Therefore, I was taking spikes. Therefore, I'm probably losing this 1v1.
Well, you did have boots, didn't you?
I
But
had boots. Yeah, I had boots
yeah.
rows, but like what's
The lack
coming
of
in
black
like
sludge
this?
recovery was
Karachi's
noticeable.
coming in, and
And
I'm
it's
losing a
taking
quarter of my
spikes.
health each time.
Right.
Yeah, I think maybe just going, I know it's easier to say in hindsight, but going Rachi in the beginning, or like earlier on, rather, when this was closer to full, might have been better.
I agree. Yeah.
Because I think setting yourself on one synthesis for the rest of the game just limits like your options against, I mean, Raikou never had to come in, but it limits that, and eventually you had to go Rachi anyway, right? So
Yeah.
better do it sooner than wasting health and PP.
Right.
No, I agree with you on that.
Noticed. Oh, continue. Sorry about that.
No, I agree on the Roserade gentleman spikes was not to my advantage, and I needed to go Jirachi immediately when he brought it in on Rotom. I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think this is
a good
one
change.
term that we should probably talk about. I mean, I know, yeah, maybe like attacking with Jirachi was a little hard in the game because he has that Moltres, so he could fish for the Flame Body, and then he can bring his Rachi in too. But I was interested that you went for the Giga Drain, Axel. I thought if anything, like if you stayed in, that you
Yeah.
would go for something else, like a sludge or something.
So, yeah, in my mind, especially early game, like once nothing was revealed on the Jirachi, he kind of had to respect Flame Body on Molt. And I thought he was actually going to double because of it. And yeah, I guess Sludge would have been better than Giga, but if, say, Adam wanted to like trick for some reason, like I'm just spitballing here, but if he wanted to trick for some reason, I didn't want to, just not get any sort of punish off of this Jirachi. And I was fine with like Giga draining Crook if that was like some sort of Sludge Bomb mid ground for some reason. Hitting Buzzwell was fine with either way, so it just made sense to me. Maybe Sludge Bomb was a bit better in hindsight, but I guess I considered Trick too much, which is why I Giga, just to get some sort of damage off on this Jirachi.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think of Trick, now that you mention it.
If I tricked, I'd be Black Sludge though, so I'd be taking that damage each turn.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to maximize that as much as possible.
Yeah, and I guess the Molt is like really valuable here too, because your U-turn, you outspeed the Rotom, so like it's not something that you'd want to risk the trick on.
Mm-hmm. Something
I
I
was
noticed
never
early.
considering tricks out there because if I tricked
yeah.
it, I'm losing long term to Raikou.
Raikou, right? And that's
Yeah, I
probably
thought-
something I should have been aware of. That's a good point. Something
It's
I
my
noticed
biggest-
early with my Rose Raid was that I was actually down on synths early. And once I saw that, I was considering the same mirror, and I was like, I have to generate some sort of progress to limit his synths in turn so that I don't end up on the negative side of this scenario. Which is why I started playing aggressively and just, forcing you to burn synths.
Yeah.
Because I was down. I think I had like 5 synths, and you still had full. So that was just my thought process with trying to get as much momentum out of Rose as I possibly could.
Yeah, but then I think the rest of, or for a like big portion of this game, until that Buzzwole mirror, Adam was kind of a little bit behind, just because in the spikes mirror, like I feel like the Rachi that takes health first is the one that's like at a disadvantage, or takes the spikes first. So
Yeah.
then here you're just caught in a vortex, and he's just like slowly losing health on a ton of things.
I paused on turn 23 because this seemed kind of big to me. But early in the game, Adam tried throwing out a Toxic with his Rotom, like to try and catch the Toad, right? And I was thinking that if I take this Toxic early, then I'm pretty much playing a losing game because at that point he gets his Rose Raid in, he gets spikes up before me, and he basically has control over the game more so than I would. And that's kind of why I made that risky play of going Rose Raid on the Toxic. And it did eat and overheat, if it came down to that because of my spread. But yeah, and the main reason why I accepted it being toxic on this turn was because I was able to get a trade off on it through like a knock to get rid of Boots, which comes in really clutch with the Molt later on.
Yeah, I mean, I think the moment you knock it here and you're able to get rocks up, it's really hard for Adam to come back from this position.
If only I had
One question though, like I think it was turn 22 when you click Sin Headbutt on the Moltres switch in. That actually didn't do like that actually did a lot, like considering it. Maybe what if Adam went for it again and that thing would have been low? You couldn't do like all of this U-turning later on that you did.
Then headbutt. I considered it though, but like
But
it's not like I'd be risking a burn and
yeah,
and
it's
would be
like
worth it.
it's like a big risk considering
Yeah.
also that he still has gotten that Raikou. And
Yeah, the
Yeah.
moment that he gets burned, I think he's just gonna lose long term to Raikou. And
Exactly.
and Accel can always just roost it off too, right? If he doesn't get the flinch, because it's only 40%. So
Right. Compared to the 60 Iron Head. Yeah, it's a big difference too.
Yeah.
Before this game, I was like really down on Moltres, but like U-turning into Seismitoad for rocks is against the Rotoms is like a really good way to use it.
Yeah, it's kind of what the Tornadus usage has been suggesting too, because we saw it alongside Seismitoad a bunch last week.
That makes sense.
I mean, just look at this thing putting in the work.
yeah, and I mean honestly here I think everything is pretty straightforward until the Buzzwole turns.
Yeah, from here I was pretty sure I thought the game was over for me. I had no shot at winning.
Yeah, I don't think anyone thought that you had a shot at winning from here.
I mean, I could have won if this Buzzwole wasn't a wing beat. But that was even then I was still so far behind Raikou.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know we talked about about that a lot in the UU Discord too. But I mean, your Rose has one synth because of the mirror early on, and that's why I think that was like the bigger misplay this game. Because then the moment that Raikou CMs
There
once
is the
now,
dual wing
then
lead.
you're just
Yeah.
in trouble.
Yeah,
And
Rose
then,
actually
yeah.
limited Raikou a lot
And then dual
because
wing lead.
I can't really calm mine down safely. I can't really sub either because, I mean, at this point he had
Yeah.
like what 11 sledge bombs. It still forces me to be low to the point where like Rachi could take me out, and I don't get enough out of a win con in Raikou.
Hmm.
So Rose would have
Yeah.
limited it a lot for sure, more than like you might suggest on paper. In practice, it would have worked out pretty nicely for the Rose user.
Yeah, if I just went to Rachi immediately, I could have had I could have like a sneaky Rose end game, but I went for I went for the sludge bombs and they cost me. Sad that
Yeah.
Azu couldn't do anything though. It's just
Oh, I was terrified of it at lead.
Up on,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was thinking the Azu would be or could be belly drum, just because.
Yeah, there's the burn.
What am I trying to say? It's a lot easier for it to break through Rose Raid, even though it's faster, just with Aqua Jet
Yeah.
at +6.
Mm. And that's like one fast water resist gone. Like, who knows how many more faster water resists that person has on their team when they already have Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point, I mean, it was unless it was belly drum and it didn't get flinched or whatever, it's just over. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I could have won from here if I crit his Rose actually. The first time
oh
I sludge
right,
bombed.
right,
Yeah.
Yes. It
But
was
that was
doable.
the only out I had.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I would probably solo coup even at this health. But if I got like
Well,
a
I
crit
think
right here,
maybe.
yeah.
Fire him to not get poisoned before he'd have to get to +2.
Yeah.
I don't think he even kills
Um,
me at +2.
Not get
I'm
poisoned.
taking spikes. I would have to risk like 2 poisons, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe 1, depending on how much the
Yeah.
sub takes. I don't know off the top of my head. Because I didn't have bulk on Raikou at all. It was straight max, so.
I think at +1 it was like 24.2 or something min roll.
It was still in Adam's favor then.
Yeah, so
Yeah, the crit on Rose definitely would have made it very dicey. The game could have gone either way, honestly.
Never lucky.
Never lucky. You got him. You got him this week. I like Bushtush, but I'm looking forward to a banger of a game. But yeah, we'll get to that.
well,
That's,
that being said, let's get right into that. 'Cause
right
we're at
into
40
predicts.
minutes. So,
Predictions.
yeah.
yeah, and
Talk
I guess
about
we
how
can just go in order from top to
Sure.
bottom. So I won't
Oh.
comment on this because I'm involved here, but the rest of you can. It's Umbry
That's a
versus
fire
myself.
matchup. That's a really fire matchup.
I have
Yeah,
to
I'm
go
looking
with,
forward to it.
If I have to go with current trends, I'm going to say Accel's going to have a good team, and Umbry might not. So I'm going to have to give it to our boy here.
All right. What about
yeah,
you, IP?
well,
I mean, I agree. Just because you both have looked like good this the first 2 weeks, but I think you just brought better teams. I'm sorry, I can't get behind the no water, no fire resist. I'm sure she won't do that again. Like Umbry won't do that again. And you're both very good players, but if I'm basing it off of the first 2 weeks and the teams that have been brought, I'd probably favor you.
And Adam or Clark, what do you guys think?
You want to go
Oh.
first, Adam?
I want you. I got you in this matchup, Excel. Guys, it make no sense to narrow bold against you, considering I put you number 1, and you did crush me, and you did bring good teams so far. So I see no reason why not to do that. I think Umbry's teams week 1 and 2 had some structural flaws. Obviously, week 2 has been beaten to death right now, but like week 1, no go through Jirachi and Roserade. I can't find that either. I think you'll have the edge in the builder, which will give you a better edge in the game.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, if Umbry continues to listen to Lily, I will give it to Accel. If not, it will be an open game. Yeah, but I'm just feeling like perhaps Lily's gonna spice it up this week and, be creative. And Umbry as well. So I'm actually looking forward to it because I feel like they've both been realizing that, okay, maybe we need to change some things up. So I'm expecting them to run something else this week, which is why I think this is going to be a great one. But like skill-wise, I think they're both equal. They're both really damn good at the game. I feel like that also both of them have they're good at building. Like Aubrey seems like I don't really like him, but it's like a known fact that Lily and I will never agree on certain teams. But like I know that Lily's creative, so she will probably do something she hasn't done before. So, but like building wise, based off on the first 2 weeks, I'm gonna give it to Accel.
All right. Thanks for the
I'll
kind
just,
words.
refresh the screen that he was on. Can we just talk about how Lax uploads like 2-hour casts just about whatever, and then we have to we're like trying to keep ours to 45 minutes.
Well, they also talk about the whole
Yeah,
damn
the
tournament.
whole
We're talking
tournament.
about
Yeah.
one tier.
Just about you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fine, man. We're not competing. We're on the same team. It's just all love here.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, the next
Alright,
matchup
next
we
one.
have. It's a shame that I like both players a lot. Like they're both old friends of mine, but it's a shame that both are 0-2 and one of them will have to go 0-3.
Who's
by
just
the end
gonna
of
get
week
benched? You heard
Oh,
it here
yeah?
first.
Talk that talk.
Getting benched will not happen, dude. Even if he goes 0-3, it's just like crazy.
But yeah, I guess I could start off with this. I think Adam's teams have been pretty representative of the meta. I've said this a lot, but I really liked his week 1 team, despite it not working out in practice, due to circumstances. But I genuinely have liked his builds up until this point. I feel like Bush's builds have been good as well, but with this uptick in like Rose usage, Buzzwole usage, I feel like the teams that he's been bringing haven't really been equipped to deal with those sorts of teams as well, if that makes sense. And we've kind of seen it in both of his matchups so far. Like we talked about that Luthier game where
Yeah.
Rose, Buzzwole, and Azelf just styled on him, honestly. But I think it'll still be a close one because I expect some sort of adjustment from him and his team. But yeah, that being said, I would take Adam in favor
Yeah.
of Bushtush. IP,
Yeah,
what would you say?
I think Adam
I-
goes 0-3 before Bushtush does.
I think you summarized it nicely. I hate that they're both 0-2 because I love both users, but it's just really hard to see a world where I ranked Adam number 1, and I think Adam's play has been very consistent the first 2 weeks.
I agree. Yeah.
And I've liked both of his teams more than I've liked the Tushes. So I don't know. I hate that they both have to go 0-3, or 0-2 right now. But I just think Bushtush is more likely to be 0-3 than Adam, just because Adam is, in my head, the most consistent UU player, even with the rough start.
Yeah, that's fair. Clark or TSR, do you guys have anything to add?
Not
You
particularly.
basically said it all, but yeah, I can agree. I favor Adam here as well.
All right, I think I'll give him the bold then. But yeah, expect it to be close. Next we have Rob subbing into UU in Luthier's stead versus Clark, who's on a nice 2-0 streak himself.
I'm curious as to why Rob got benched because Luth did really well last week, and he's been putting in a ton of effort. We've been testing a lot, and I could I thought he was going to stay after he beat Bushtush, but not only did he get out, but he went to OU. So that's what I'm curious about.
Well, I can actually answer that question because I've asked Rob today, and he basically just said that they wanted to, change things up a little, like in all of their lineup. I think Lon and Beats also plays Ubers now, and Chadanya plays OU right now.
Oh,
He was
okay.
previously on the bench,
Interesting.
so
I think something else that
a little.
could
Yeah.
have something to do with it is like Rob's OU game last week, which was a bit of a struggle, and then Luthier's like
Yeah.
week 1 showing where he just seemed behind all game. So and again, like their whole team's versatility is like off the charts in terms of like the different lineups that they can mess with. So it's only week
Yeah.
3, but it was bound to happen.
One thing I
respect
want to
it.
add as well is that, like, I remember Rob telling me before SEL started that he actually wants to start in UU rather than OU. And
Yeah.
Luthier only signed up for UU, so he couldn't play during the first couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just circumstances. But as for the actual game, I know Clark is 2-0, but Rob is just a different beast. Like if I'm talking about top UU players, like he's on the same level as like I see someone like Adam. And he did win champs after all. He's had success, in UPL and a bunch of other, UU tournaments. Like some of his UU World Cup games have been good too in SS. He's playing the tiebreaker right now, so I think he just has a lot of current experience right now. It'll be interesting to see how he builds for this particular meta, since we haven't really seen him build for anything after Rose Raid kind of took off.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like the tremendous amounts of experience and just sense, I guess, in the game would be enough for me to pick him over Clark here.
I can't bold Clark over him. If I had to choose one, obviously, but this pool's been pretty competitive. Like, what am I trying to say? It's been giving us some surprises. Like Adam did have to go up against two of his probably tougher opponents in the pool these past 2 weeks, but he's still the #1 ranked player and still 0-2. Not anything against him, but I'm just saying that's how competitive the pool is. But
Yeah.
True.
I'd still
No.
have to favor Rob.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I bolded against, or I predicted against Clark last week just because I thought Gondra's playstyle would match up well against Clark. And I think I'm in kind of a similar boat with Rob. And I obviously don't want to discredit Clark being 2-0. And I think this game is still going to be close because Clark is probably just going to prep harder too. But I think Rob has a lot of UU experience and playing experience in general under his belt to where he can get a really good read on players. And Clark is still relatively new to the scene. So I think with given an even matchup, most of the time I would just predict Rob to outplay Clark. Um, but then, it's never out of the question because or for Clark to win because like you saw last week, Clark had a decent matchup against Gondra and he actually pivoted it well and was able to use all of his advantages. So it's not like, oh, Clark is new, other player more experienced, Clark is gonna lose. So I still think this will be close. I just, based on previous experiences, have to give it to Rob.
I resonate with that a lot. Yeah.
I think overall Rob has some, or definitely has some trends that he does in building. I know that's I know that it's very apparent in his SM history when he plays Gen 7 UU. It's like he has very apparent trends that Clark can probably take advantage of if he preps well. So definitely will be close.
I
But
definitely wouldn't miss this game for the world. That's for sure.
Will also be interesting to see what kind of team that we'll use. Remember, he's got HS support.
Oh
no.
gosh.
I'm holding Clark.
He
I'm
might
holding
just
Clark.
go
You know what? That might be enough to sway things here. Hold on. No, I think we
Yeah.
covered it pretty well up until this point. So I guess we could bold Rob, but also admit that this will probably be one of the closer games of the week. Definitely one that everybody should try to catch for sure. And then we have our second to last game of the week. We have Gondra versus IP.
Old man Puto
Yeah.
showing off his undefeated record against his my fellow 0-2 Gondra. This is gonna be fun. I'm putting IP for this one personally. He's my #2 as well. He's active. I think I've been testing with him a lot as well, and he's just been putting in a lot of work. I think he has a good grasp on the tier, and I don't think he's been made any clear misplays. So I think he's the favorite, personally.
How do I not make this sound biased? Because everybody knows I love IP, but okay. I think his teams have been just better, more in tune with the way trends are going. And I think Gondra is in the same boat as Bushtush. I don't know if they're building for themselves or what sort of help they have, but both of their teams have seemed like a step or two behind the rest of the pack. If that makes sense, it's all stuff that gets spiked on by Roserade or doesn't have too much security versus the common pivots or wall breakers such as Buzzwole. So yeah, Gondra has had his fair cut of bad RNG, but I think at the same time IP's in better form, and for that reason I'd take him over Gondra for this matchup.
I agree.
All right, I guess we could bold IP and then move on to the last, but possibly the most exciting matchup for this spectators.
The war,
The
baby, let's
Brazilian
go.
action. The Brazilian action. You've all been waiting for it.
The Brazilian
You've all been
showdown
waiting for it.
between Askov and mncmt. mncmt is undefeated as
So,
well.
Pete.
and
So,
Askov
the
would have been
so damn
undefeated,
heated.
but had the unfortunate circumstance of being crit on the last turn. So technically, it's two undefeated players, but what do you guys think of their team so far, and who would you favor?
Well, Askov so far used Hail and then used his opponent's team, so
yeah,
I can't comment much on that regard.
Yo, don't discredit Jadeblade098 helping him. She's gonna own Invaders again. And you'll see that she's the greatest support ever.
I'm not
Don't
discrediting
discredit
it,
her.
just I haven't seen it yet because he used my team week 1 and he used Mensme's team week 2.
That's a good point.
That's
yeah,
all.
Yeah.
my
But like, it would have worked 2 times though.
terrible teammate.
That's just so good.
This shit rag guy, a god awful teammate.
He fucking
All right.
sucks. Get out of here.
That's I'm actually muting you in the Discord. I'm not letting you speak a single word from this point on. IP, what do you think of this matchup, dude? Because honestly, I'm kind of lost. Like, I think Mensmeet's been the better player, and I think his teams have been like pretty creative. Honestly, like there was a Barraskewda, but I don't know what else to think really.
Barraskewda!
I think that well, I'm a fan of both. I really like that Askov has, at least for me, noticeably improved. Even if he's, used other people's teams, he's noticeably improved from when I watched him play like last Snake or the last UU team tours. Like, sure, there's some misplays here and there, but nothing as big as I think he used to make.
Mhm.
But
Discharge the scissor.
Oh yeah,
gosh.
like that.
Discharge the scissor.
But I think Mensmeet has honestly just kind of looked, for one reason or the other, whether it's his opponent's teams or his own teams, which I've actually really liked. He's just looked dominant in the last 2 weeks. Like, I never really thought he was at risk of losing either of his games. So I don't know. I think this one will also be close. But I think I just have to favor. I think I've liked how Mensmeet has looked more than Askov. Not to say Askov has looked bad, because I think Askov has actually played very well the first 2 weeks. But just basing it off of like the teams that I've seen and the overall play, I don't really think that Mensmeet has screwed up in either the builder or the game enough for me to bolt against him.
I will also say that I feel like Men's having highway support or support from highways is also pretty key, because like I feel like he's got a great take on a meta, and he's been building his teams, or they've been building it together, but like whatever they've been up to, they've been doing pretty well in the builder and also in game, so
I
I
agree.
can like see favoring Mensmeet here.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
I think I'll give him the ball then.
Yeah. Again, I want to make it clear that I wasn't critiquing Askov or TSR in any way. I thought they've been piloting. Askov's been playing great this tournament so far, but Mensmeet is so far. He's just up ahead of everybody. If we were to exclude all past results, only look at the past 2 games, Mensmeet's the best. So I put him there as well.
Up until this point, I'd agree. Yeah.
But guys,
Yeah.
don't forget about the Jadeblade098 support. She's been ghosting Askov all along. That's why it's
true.
been doing so well.
Is that a confession?
Yeah, I might have to
that
PM
is a
somebody about that.
confession.
Yeah, let me look into this real quick as tier leader.
Okay, well, I think we covered everything well so far. Any last thoughts that you guys want to add?
If I see another fucking spike mirror, I'm gonna blow my brains out.
Can we please ban Komodo? I'm so tired of it.
No, you're gonna
Just
see
adapt,
it.
bro.
You're gonna see 10 usages of Como this week. What are you talking about?
Well, there's never 10 usages of Komodo, because if you're using Komodo, that means you're not using Buzzwole.
Oh, true.
Well, if you use both.
Counterpoint: Bush used both
There
week
you go.
1.
There
Very
you go.
true.
So the one thing that I want to add before we end it is, well, I was gonna say I don't know who Bad Bully is, but he said IP will be busy with UE World Cup tiebreak and losing SEL.
Okay.
But Carson just told me that was him. So I just want to say that I am absolutely not paying attention to UE World Cup, especially with Carson in my tiebreaker, because this man told me he wasn't bringing Quick Claw Wheezing HO, and he did. So now I do not care about that tournament.
Wait,
And
Oh gosh. You hear that?
And
Adam, we're winning UE World Cup again. Let's go.
Let's go, farming our Hall of Fame ring.
But on the real, I tactically scheduled for Sunday so I could pay attention to SEL first. So all my prep will go
Respect.
You made
Sunday
the John
morning.
move,
And,
dude. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, man.
You guys really made this tournament an entire another week.
Hey,
Yeah.
you're guilty of this as well.
I know. I wasn't saying I'm a role model. I was saying don't be like me.
All right, yeah, that's enough about you,
So
Rocco. Nobody
true.
cares. Everybody's here for STL. But
Yeah, true.
yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. It was a good recap of week 2, and yeah, we'll see you guys at the end of week 3 then. All right, until then, peace out.
See you.
Bye.
Peace.